Rest in peace, One Piece. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with what might be the end of the Toei One Piece series. I know I'm being a dramatic bitch, but I my concern over this entire situation has not gone away. And I'm not going to rant about it here because I spent way too long ranting about it before. Um but just to reiterate, if anyone hadn't seen that other reaction and everything, I have no issue with them taking a 6 month break. I have an issue with them with the reasons why and what they're supposedly going to do with this break. The choice to try and up the animation, which I don't think you really can without making it look exceptionally uncanny, because the animation's already like peak animation. It's like, where do you go from there? But I also don't like the idea that they're like trying to, like, I guess fix, quote unquote, the pacing and stuff like that, because as I've stated, I don't think the pacing needs fixing. In fact, trying to make the pacing more like the manga would hurt the series. The pacing needs to be what it is. I'm not not going to get into all of that again here because I've already ranted long enough about that. But I'm really worried that they're going to mess up this series by ruining the pacing like this. Now, I don't know for sure how this is going to end up going down, so I'm not going to just assume it's dead. But it's it's concerning at the least, and over these 6 months it's going to be stressful for me. Because as I've stated, this is specifically the anime is my favorite piece of media of all time. So it's important to me. It matters a lot to me. And I mean, not to the point where even if it did go bad, it wouldn't like ruin my life or anything like that. But it would be probably the biggest disappointment I've faced in media. And I would move on. I'd be able to move on and watch other stuff and get into other stuff still. Again, it wouldn't ruin my life, but it would be incredibly upsetting. So, yeah, I'm just concerned. But today we're getting to the last episodes prior to this break, 1121 and 1122, and we're also going to do the fan letter. This is something I honestly was not planning on doing because I felt like it just sounded kind of pointless. Like, it's a non-canon special that focuses on, I guess, how the Straw Hats have inspired others around the world. It's like, sure, you could find some value in that, but I don't think it's necessary, and it feels like just it feels like almost a waste of time. I don't know. It's like I'd rather just have more actual like One Piece. I'm not really interested in extra stuff like this. But apparently, since this came out over the weekend, people have been raving about it, saying it's like the best One Piece has been in a long time, in terms of those who, haven't been exactly, I guess, fond of One Piece in a while. I don't know. But they're also saying it's like, oh, the animation is like movie quality, It's like brought people to tears and stuff, and it's like, why? What? Nothing about what I have known about this seems like it would be anything like to that kind of quality. Visual quality, yeah, because all of One Piece has been movie quality visuals for a while now. It's like that's not new. People are acting like that's new, but that's just how One Piece has been pretty much since I would say pretty much since the raid on Onigashima happened, but especially since episode 1015. That's the episode that really kind of changed things for the better in regards to that. And there were some episodes here and there before that, but like once that part hit, it really started becoming consistently like that the entire time. And like definitely since Egghead, it's like it's been the animation's been like highest quality since just the entire time without stop. And I just I still don't know how they're going to supposedly improve on that at this point. I don't know. Because it's like One Piece has had like some of the best animation in all of anime since all of this started. And you're gonna improve on it? Like what? What does that mean? Um but yeah, so I don't know like what's gonna happen in these last two episodes before we take the break. Um I also don't know like all the details about what happens in this fan letter special. I just know kind of like the bare bones basics of that, and like I said, it didn't sound interesting pretty much at all. Like I wasn't just gonna not react to this. I wasn't gonna watch this. I had like no interest. It didn't sound interesting. And again, the only reason I'm doing it now is because of the reaction it's gotten. Um, and then there's the actual episodes. I don't know what's gonna happen next at this point. I really don't. With all the big revelations and huge moments we've been getting, I feel like it's almost impossible to predict where this is going to go. Which is a good thing, mind you. I like that. But, excuse me, it does leave less to talk about going into it. Hopefully there's a lot to talk about coming out, though. I assume we're going to leave off on some big stuff. Like, it wouldn't really make sense to me to not leave off on a big moment or whatnot. Like, if you're taking a 6-month break, you can't just leave off on some random little thing. Like, there's got to be like a major cliffhanger, or there's got to be some pretty insane shit going down, something like that. It has to be memorable so as to build up that hype. It's the same reason why binging doesn't work, and why you need to like watch week to week and everything to get the full experience and stuff. And I mean the only reason I've been binging like multiple episodes per video lately is just to get caught up. Purely for that reason. And even then, it's like I wasn't binging like too many at once because I didn't want to. But yeah. Excuse me. Sorry for all the yawning. Don't know why that always happens, but let's just get into this. Hope for the best with both the main series and this fan letter special, and see what happens. So, yeah, let's get to it. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And we have gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Baldur's Gate 3 every single day, Horizon Forbidden West every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, Beyond Two Souls on Wednesdays and Sundays, and Poppy Playtime every Saturday. And don't forget to click that link in the description to follow it to today's reaction. I do redirect everything on the channel just due to copyright. And on top of that, don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel and the like button to help support. It means a lot, and I thank you so much for tuning in. That being said, let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. It's funny to me that, like, people are going, like, crazy about the animation for, fan letter, when it's like, this is just how the animation has been lately. Like, for the regular main series. It's like, it wasn't any better. This is just how the animation for the main series has been pretty much since, like, the last part of Wano. It's like, it's amazing. It's great animation. I'm not denying that. It's phenomenally done, and it is, like, you know, movie-level quality animation, but it's not any better than what it was in the, what it is in Egghead or the later part of Wano. It's like, so why are we, like, specifically hyping that up as if it's different? Did we expect this to not be that well animated? Is that the idea? And we're gonna start off. We're gonna talk about the fan letter first because it's freshest on my mind. We're gonna start with that. Then we'll go back to the actual episodes, and end this more on topic. You know, this fan letter special is clearly the opposite of what is actually shown in the special. The special, obviously, about these different people in here, but especially this young girl, who are all fans of the different Straw Hats. And the special itself acts as the crew, the Toei crew and everyone, and even probably to a point Oda, kind of showing that same level of caring, of excitement, of thankfulness towards the fans. This is very clearly meant to be a love letter to everyone who has been a fan of this series. No matter who they are, no matter what they get from it, who their favorite characters are, how long they've been a fan, doesn't matter. The differences that mark their fandom for this series are part of what makes it so special as a series. And this is, again, clearly meant to be a thank you of sorts to everybody who found something here, who gets something from this series and have a lot in it that just inspires them, makes them a better person, etc., etc. And I think that in turn, this special will do a lot for these fans. These same fans who already get so much from the series, I think will get a lot from this, because it'll show that not only do Toei, not only does Oda, not only does everyone who has made this a thing, not only do they see us as fans, but are doing this for us. And in a way, just like this little girl, effectively saved the Straw Hats' lives. We are the ones who keep this show going. Without the fans, there is no One Piece. Without the fans, this anime would not have run for over 1,100 episodes. The manga would not have gone on for over 1,100 chapters. The longevity and strength of this series is not just due to Oda. It's due to everyone who has continued to support it all these years. Again, whether you are a fan since the beginning, whether you're a newer fan who just got into it, it does, none of that stuff matters. If you're a fan, you're a fan. It doesn't matter who your favorite Straw Hat is. It doesn't matter, like, why you're a fan, like what specifically got you into it. The point is you're a fan, and that's all that's needed to know. And that's why this special is made for you, made for me. And I definitely feel like this was the right point to make this special, with the fact that they're going on this 6-month hiatus and everything. Like, kind of leaving things off not only on this big epic moment with the main series, not only doing this revisionist stuff with the Fishman Island, well, Return to Shabandi and Fishman Island arcs, but leaving off with also this special that is just a massive thank you to the fans, is a smart idea. I don't think this would work at any other point. The only other point this special I feel could work is the very end of the series. Like, literally after the series is over. Because, like, the only other point that could have worked is already well past. It would literally be the point between Return to Shabandi and Fishman Island, right after they set sail, after 2 years. That's already passed. That would be the only other point that this could have worked in, but that happened years ago. Like, what was it, 2014, I think? So it's like, this was definitely the right time to do this, I think. And that is what allows it to work as well as it does. That being said, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. all of this hype, all of this, like, setting the scene, setting the emotion, explaining why this is such an important thing, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. From a story and characters perspective. I've talked about before on this channel in various things, story and character are the most important things to me in any series, movie, game, etc. There's always exceptions. Like, if I'm playing a game that is like a party game or something, it's like, oh yeah, that doesn't need to have story or character as much. It's a party game. But, like, with something that is supposed to have a story and is supposed to have good character work, I want it to be top tier, you know? I didn't care about any of the characters in here because they're just random characters thrown in for this. They didn't exist prior to this special. I have no emotional connection to any of them because I've only known them for 20 minutes. What am I supposed to connect with? Just the fact that they like the Straw Hats? That's not enough. Because that's pretty much the majority of their character. And the little girl is the only one who actually has any added depth to her. Beyond just liking the characters. None of the others in this even had a character at all. In fact, I don't think a single one of them had a name. I don't think any of these characters were given a name. Like, even the two Marine brothers, they just refer to each other as Big Brother and Little Brother. The girl is never referred to by a name. They don't have names. And that is definitely immersion breaking for me. Because it's like, we're supposed to connect with these characters, but we don't even get any sort of identity to them. We have nothing to, like, refer to them as, other than just little girl, or Marine older brother, or Marine younger brother, or, you know, asshole blonde Marine. It's like, how are we supposed to have this emotional connection here without that kind of thing? And listen, I'm super fucking emotional. I am a fucking crybaby. I will cry at the dumbest things. If something gets to me It really gets to me, and I can bawl like a baby. But this didn't make me cry. Because again, I had no form of connection built here. Like, oh, this girl likes Nami because Nami's not like other pirates? Okay, explore why that's important to her. No, we're not going to do that? Oh, then why should I care? Like the Marine brother, the specifically the younger brother, I think it was, the dark haired one, he had more depth to him in regards to why he liked Luffy. Because Luffy's resolve helped him save his own brother and helped him change to become a better person. It's like there's at least something more there. And even then, he's such a bland ass character. You have this shopkeeper who is apparently a fan of Brooke, but like doesn't really have much of any personality. Like no discernible characteristics. It's just like K. And then the people talking about like Zoro and Sanji and whatnot in the bar, kids obsessed over Frankie. It's like this one Marine leader obsessed with Chopper because he thinks he's cute. It's like I don't have a reason to care about any of these characters. I don't have a reason to connect with them. I don't have a reason to find them that well written. And that's the problem when you have a special that is only 22 minutes and you throw in so goddamn much that it doesn't have time to develop anything. And there's not really much of a story to this either. It's just a bunch of people who just happen to like each of the Straw Hats arrives on or on Shabandi at the same time that the Straw Hats return after 2 years and are going to set sail. And the little girl wants to meet Nami. That's the plot completely described. You don't miss anything from that. Because the plot is so paper thin, it's boring. It's just kind of boring. I'm like sitting there waiting for something interesting to actually happen. It almost feels like outside of just, paying tribute to all the fans of the series, this special feels like it was also just made to show off this part of the series, both Marineford and the Return to Shabandi, in the more modern animation. And that's fine. That's all well and good, because they're going to be doing that with Return to Shabandi and Fishman Island. Even though they're also cutting down on the runtime of that, which is going to ruin it, which is why I'm not watching it. But that's, again, a rant I've already had. But yeah, it's like, this, as a special, in terms of what it means, it's great. In terms of watching it as, like, a piece of media, it kind of sucks. And I know there's some people who would probably be like, oh, but then just appreciate it for what it is and for what it's trying to do as a tribute to the fandom that has brought this series this far. I do appreciate it for that. I actively do. That's why I spent so long at the beginning of these afterthoughts, like, praising that. I absolutely respect that. I love that they did that. I just wish the actual special itself had a story to it. Or, characters that were given some level of depth that I could get behind. I think the biggest problem is it focuses on too many characters. It should have only focused on this little girl. Cut out pretty much everything with the other Marines who like the other characters and everything. Just focused on her and wanting to meet Nami. It would have had to give us her name. give us some level of information. They could have made up a name. It doesn't matter. Give us some level of information about her, why she's so interested in Nami. We would have to get a lot of other information. And it would have to develop her and make her feel like an actual character rather than a plot device. If they did that, could have been great. But as it is, it's a nice tribute to the fans without effort put into making it a good story. It's entirely made to be visually appealing, to show off older scenes in a newer animation style, and to pay tribute to the fans, which is great. But it's not why I'm interested in One Piece. I don't watch this series for the great animation. I watch this series because of the character and story work, which is like second to none pretty much. That's why I'm interested in One Piece. So, maybe that's just me. Again, a lot of people seem to really love this special, and even said it brought them to tears. And I know exactly which scenes would have definitely done that for them. But it wasn't that emotional for me. I see the value in it. I just don't think it was as well executed as it could have been. And possibly should have been. I just really feel like it needed to be better in terms of story and character work to really get me emotional. Because that's the stuff that gets me emotional. I don't cry at I want to live just because someone's saying I want to live after having said I want to die. It's because of the specific circumstances surrounding Robin. It is because of the specific backstory that we just had witnessed at that moment. It is very specific to Robin. It is because of the character work, the story work, the depth that was put into her. That is why that line hits so hard. And the amazing voice acting performance does help, mind you. I won't lie, that does absolutely help. But that line wouldn't have worked if someone else just randomly said it. And honestly, if that line had been given to like a different Straw Hat, while still keeping their same backstories that they have, I don't think it would have worked for anyone else. If Sanji had said that, don't think it would have worked. It specifically works because of Robin's specific backstory. But anyways, so yeah, it's... I'm not as hyped for it as other people seem to be, but the fact that other people are, that's awesome. And as I always say, it's all subjective. Love what you're going to love. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong for liking something just because I think it's, not that good. I like it when things that I don't like are liked by others. Because it means it has an audience, and that's always a good thing. I mean, unless you're like the Velma series or something. In which case, it's like, finally that show got canceled. It's like, finally, the people who worked on it are free to actually work on good stuff now. But, let's talk about the actual episodes. So, the actual episodes we got here returns the focus back to the fight on Beehive with Garp and Sword taking on the Blackbeard Pirates. And we get a couple interesting confrontations here with San Juan Wolf, with Shiryu, with Vasco Shot, and leading into Avalo Pizarro as kind of the final villain of this confrontation because of his powers controlling the island and everything and being the island. But we also get to see backstory with Kuzan and Garp, and how Kuzan initially became Garp's um, original protege, and how Garp now see, and kind of why Garp sees Kobe as the future of the Navy. There's also an implication, it doesn't quite say it, but there is an implication that Garp saw Kuzan this way once upon a time. That Kuzan was initially who he would have referred to as the future of the Navy. But things have definitely changed for a lot of reasons. And now he sees Kobe as such. And we see that both of them trained the same way through Garp's method of training, through like punching these ships and everything. They were able to strengthen themselves. And Kobe had to work so much harder because he was naturally very weak. So he had to train himself even more so than normal, putting himself in harm constantly just to be able to reach the point where he could, live up to that expectation that Garp had for him. And there's something really cathartic when he does hit the Honesty Impact, obviously a play on the Galaxy Impact and everything that Garp has. Not only seeing Kobe hit a move obviously inspired by his mentor, but to see fucking Kobe hit this move. Like, it makes that a big point because it shows throughout the episode, the second of these two episodes, 1122, it shows these flashback scenes of Kobe back when he was super young. It's not even really that much younger, actually, but back when he was, a small, cowardly bean. Back when Helmeppo had that really shitty haircut. It goes back to that and showcases how far he's come. This sniveling, whining little brat on Alvida's ship has now become a hero of the Marines, has now become a legitimate hero to so many people. Someone who is not just acting as a Marine for a power trip, but rather is acting as a Marine to actually help people, following true justice rather than absolute justice. He's a good person. Working in a corrupt system, yes, but a good person, nonetheless. And the funny thing is, with Sword, he actually kind of gets to operate a little bit outside of that system to actually, be a good person without being restrained by the system that he's trapped in. Well, not really trapped, but you know what I mean. So there's an interesting commentary about that as well. But we get to see like how far he's come through this, to the point where he didn't even like fully realize he'd be able to do this. But we also see that his allies fight alongside him, and like even though they're surprised by what he can do, they don't give up. They continue to fight with him. And in the end, Garp chooses to stay behind for the sake of the future. He lets them escape while he chooses to sacrifice himself. And obviously we know he's not dead. One, that would be a really fucking dumb way to kill off a character as important to this series as Garp. And Oda would not do that. But two, Oda is in no way, shape, or form killing off Garp this early. If Garp does die, which I do think could happen, it's going to be a very big moment where his death is not in question. Like they even said, Vice Admiral Garp disappeared The papers never said he died. He disappeared. And on top of that, we saw him being frozen over, which we know people can survive. I mean, we saw Hibari, I think her name is. We saw her in these very episodes survive having been frozen by Kuzan. And we know Robin and Luffy have already survived in the past. We know Saul survived. Like that is still a big deal. If Kuzan, if Kuzan saved Saul back at Ohara, you bet your fucking ass he saved Garp here. I think he froze him over like that to stop Garp from bleeding out and dying. I think he saved Garp's life. I think Kuzan is a mole. I don't know for who, but I think he is a mole in Blackbeard's crew. That him joining them was always the intent so he could spy on them and possibly work to take them down from the inside. This has actually like solidified my theory regarding that much more so than ever. Kuzan is probably going to have to imprison Garp and keep him away from everyone else in the Blackbeard Pirates. Keep him safe. And they're going to plan something. That's my belief here. Because especially like when Garp was like letting them go and everything and was freezing over, you saw Kuzan's face and everything. And he was like looking down and like looked very upset by what was happening. It's like there is so much evidence here to support the idea that Kuzan is a mole. And I really can't wait to see whenever that gets revealed. But obviously the action during all of this is great. Seeing Garp fighting Pizarro. Seeing Pizarro's powers on full display. Even getting to see a little bit of the others. Shiryu using the clear fruit. We get to see Vasco Shot doing his thing. It's like this is all very, very interesting. And it's like it really leaves us off in terms of the main series on a really strong note. We finished this storyline. And now this is going to lead into the future for multiple reasons. I can't wait to see where this kind of stuff goes. And I feel like I feel like this feels like a good point for there to be a break as well. Like having it like right after Garp's sacrifice and the end of this storyline. I feel like works. I don't know what's going to come next. I don't know like what other storylines besides the main one that we're going to get within this arc once we come back. But I'm very curious. Especially now. And I'm still hoping that when we do come back after 6 months that we come back to a new opening. Because I think it's needed at this point. Because after being off for 6 months, coming back to the same opening would feel so unsatisfying. So I really hope they give us a new opening. But that all being said, yeah, I thought these last 2 episodes were a genuinely great leave-off point. So, last week, I kind of talked about what would replace One Piece, because this is kind of, like, snuck up on me, and it's just a very sudden thing. Like, I kind of wish they announced this, like, a lot more ahead of time. But instead, it's just like, oh, basically, what, a week before? Maybe 2? We have no One Piece for 6 months. Which means that this slot is free. And last week I was talking about what would replace it. And my main thought, my main idea was Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War. Partially because it is another anime from the big 3. It is something that I did see the first episode to, but never continued past that, and I really should. I said I was originally going to react to it on the channel prior to it coming out, and I just never got around to it. I chose to not do it, in fact. So that I just chose not to react to it after all. So that is kind of rectified now by doing it currently and everything. And on top of that, it's just the right kind of series to replace One Piece. Because One Piece's slot was more based on it being a long running major series than anything else. Like, yeah, it's a big three series. Yeah, it's a shonen and everything. It's something that would be considered a Connie's choice slot, meaning it's something I chose myself rather than a first impression or a donation reward or anything like that. But first and foremost, it is a long running, constantly running series. And the best thing to replace that with would be something that could kind of fit into that slot seamlessly, I guess you could say. And Bleach, the Thousand Year Blood War, just seems to be the best choice. So I am confirming now that is what we are going to do. I will say now, for anyone who may have not seen it or may not know or whatever, this is not a remake. This is a continuation. The original Bleach anime ended at a certain point, and this is the continuation from where that point starts again in the manga. Because the manga didn't stop, but the anime stopped after a certain arc, and now it's basically just picking right back up from where it left off. So it is a continuation. It's not going to be for people who have not seen any of it, though you might be able to pick up at least some aspects of it without having seen anything else. It's extremely well animated from what I know of it, and I do know like the main villain's name and everything. Um, but I'm interested to go through this and delve into this, see exactly what it has in store, and hopefully share it with all of you. Now, I will say right off the bat, we are going to be doing the first episode, even though I've already seen it. I saw it when it first aired, like, which was like what, last year, and I only saw it once. So we're gonna do it again, mostly as a recap for myself. But we're gonna do it next week, and we're gonna pair it up with the second episode as well. So we're gonna do the first two episodes next week, pair them up together. The first one I will have already seen, but honestly, I don't remember too much from it. And we are, by the way, doing this in the dub, because Bleach is one of those series that I can't watch in sub. The voices just do not fit the characters for me. And it's just, I need to watch it in the English with the cast I know and love. Johnny Young Bosch as Ichigo, Michelle Ruff as Rukia, and so on and so forth. There's a couple changes. There are a couple things that were changed up and everything, and there's one big controversy with one of the casting changes. But I'll get to that next week when we start this. So I apologize to anyone who might have wanted something else. If you were hoping for like me to put like a first impression or a donation reward in this slot, I could have, but I really wanted this slot to remain kind of as it is. It's a good way for me to start the week, having something like this. It's a good way to kind of get me into things again. In terms of like having taken the weekend off of recording, you know what I mean? rather than like anything else. But yeah, I'm excited to see more One Piece once that comes back in April, I think it is. But until then, we are taking off. It's, again, not my choice. I'm just really hoping that when we do come back to One Piece, that they don't ruin it with pacing issues. I hope it remains like the kind of pacing that we're used to and allows for, really high quality storytelling still. But we'll see. We'll see. For the time being, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of these final two episodes of One Piece for now? Um, what did you think of the fan letter special as well? Let me know your thoughts on all three of these down in the comments below. And let me know if you're planning on watching Thousand Year Blood War with me. I really hope you are. I grew up with Bleach just as I did with Naruto and One Piece. So I am really looking forward to this. I always meant to get back to more of it. I just never watched more than the first episode. Oh, and just as a note, for sake of ease, um, we are going to be listing it as Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Episode 1. Even though it's a continuation of the previous Bleach anime and everything, I'm going to be listing it as Episode 1 just for the sake of ease. Rather than episode, I don't know, 200 or 300 something. I don't know exactly what episode the original anime would have left off on. I just don't remember. But yeah, all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.